Hello, and welcome to Preparing to Survive and Thrive Homesteading channel with Charlie B. So, what am I up to today? Well, back here in this pot, I have crab apples. Now, this is going to be a multiple day and multiple project cook down. In order for me to make jelly or syrup, I have to cook down crab apples and extract the juice. So, the first we're going to do is cook down the crab apples. Let me bring you a little closer so I can show you what I'm doing. These crab apples were all washed and cleaned up before I put them in here, but I did leave the stems and everything on them. I will smash them up and I will extract the liquid. Now how I did this was I had these in the freezer. I pulled them out and they were still frozen. They were in a giant bag. And then I poured about a half a gallon of water on top of them. Wasn't nowhere to cover the crab apples, but with them melting down, I knew that I would have plenty of juice. So we're just going to close this up, and if I find any ones with bad spots in them as I cook down, I'll pull them out. But multiple day, multiple hours, and oh, I'm doing this also on my wood cook stove. So we'll be back as we proceed. Well, good morning, and I say good morning because it is about 7:15 in the morning on a Wednesday, and I've been cooking this down for about 21 hours. And this is what it's going to look like if you do the slow cooking method. Now, I have smashed up the crab apples. Now, this will clear as I strain it, but I just wanted to show you this. It's brown. And as you know, apples do turn brown when they hit air, but this will lighten once I get the pieces of the apple out. So it is definitely cooked down enough. I've extracted the juice, cooked it down a little bit more, and I'm going to pull it off the burner. So let me get this lid back on. And we'll be back in a little bit when this thing cools down. I can start straining it. All right, so the crab apples have been actually cooling for the last few hours. I'm going to show you what they look like. You can tell this was very steamy when they were moved. So this is the sink we put in. It's actually a three sink. It's a commercial sink. It was given to me. It did not cost me anything. But back to this, as you can see, this is what it looks like. Now what's funny is this actually changed colors from being a golden brownish to now it's a reddish color. Now this color again will change as I start to strain it out. Now how am I going to strain this out? Now this by no means is the only way you can do this. What I have is part of my apple press. Okay, it even has a spout on it. There's two pots in here. The bottom one has the spout, and this top one is like a colander, sieve, lots of holes in it. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put a cheesecloth literally over top of it. Sorry if I'm only halfway in the frame or no in the frame, but I'm trying to give you the best view of what I'm doing. I just slide that right over. I had done apples a couple years ago, but I'm not going to use the whole press. I'm going to put this right in here. Put this over the big pot in order to keep it from running down. It takes a minute, you have to excuse me. Just want it to be good and tight. Now if you don't have something like this, you can literally use just a strainer. As I was saying, if you don't have a setup like my apple press, you can use two pans and use something like this. You just put some cheesecloth or even a clean kitchen towel between this and your other pot. Say that this was a pot, you just put it in there, put the cheesecloth on top of it, and it would strain right down through. It would take a little bit of time, but that's okay. And you'd have your contents in the pot. You could also use something like this. It's just a regular strainer, and put that over a measuring cup. Okay, now this won't get everything out, but you can use the clean dish towel or cheesecloth. Okay, so there's some different methods for you to use, especially if you're making a smaller batch. This is probably what I would do and call it a day. Right, so we're gonna get this set up and I'll show you how I'm doing that. So I'm going to go to handheld method here a moment so you can see this. This is the cooling down juice from the crab apples. This is what I'm going to be straining it in with a sieve, colander, whatever you want to call it, and my cheesecloth and another pot. And like I said, this is my apple press part of it. And then I'm going to just let it drain down in here into a measuring cup. Now I am going to lift up that measuring cup. So let me get this all set up. We'll be back. So how I propped up my giant measuring cup, it's over 8 cups. It measures up to 8 cups. I put just one of those plastic dish pans underneath of it and raised it up very nicely. So I'm going to start dipping and let you see how this is going to go. Ooh, this is messy. It's definitely going to take some of this before it starts coming out. And what I have underneath these in order to close off this sink is actually it's a piece of countertop, and I am going to sand it down and use it as a cutting board. Ah, it's starting to come out. Can you see it drizzle? Every picture that I have seen about crab apples, the jelly is red. Even though my apple started out as mostly a yellow and a few reds, most of it's actually turning red, and it's going to be a beautiful color, and a beautiful color of syrup also. Now I haven't tasted this yet. It could be an interesting taste before I add the sugar into it. Got my pot pretty much full where it's not going to take much more. And the liquid is draining out, but it's draining very, very slow. So I'm going to help it along. This is the weight to the apple press. I'm just going to give it a squirt. It's going to take its fine time. As this does this, we'll be back. It's going to take a little while. Well, we've got a slow leak here, as I would call it, because it's definitely not pouring out. But as I'm pushing down on this, I've noticed that there is so much juice down in between these, Keep your eye on there, but I'm actually going to lift this up. And that should help get it going. Didn't do it very good this time. Oh, there we go. So I'm just doing this to help it to go a little easier. And this is probably what you'd have to do if you were using another method of straining. Just kind of keep it off the bottom and let it keep going. You've got it moving. So stay tuned so you can see the results as they flow. Okay, well, so far I've gotten 1.5 gallons of the juice from the crab apples. It's very, very pretty. This was my last one I pulled out. It's going to make some beautiful jam and syrup, or jelly and syrup. My next step is I'm going to dump out these guys right here. This is the stuff that I have been pushing out, what's left of the crab apples, but we're not going to be done with these yet. Ooh, that's heavy, and it's slick. There's still more juice under that. I know it looks like a giant cake if you can see that. And I'm going to slowly add this back into it and start to press it out. And I'm going to be one messy, messy girl as I do this. Just gonna put this is a cup measuring. There's about 1/2 cup. When you fill it completely, I'm just going to start adding to it. And I'm going to press that little bit out and just continue to do that until I've got it done. Pull it out, add to it, pull it out, add to it. Well, I have been pushing all the juice I can possibly get out of the crab apples. I ended up with just slightly under 2 gallons, and I'm going to be taking the first 4 cups and making jam out of them. That will be my next video. So I'm going to get cleaning up this glorious mess. I'm not going to make you watch me do it. That'd be no fun, right? So remember, if you like my content, like, share, and subscribe. And remember, this is only one way to extract juice from your crab apples. Lots of different ways. So remember, like, share, and subscribe. I'll be seeing you soon. Charlie B, signing out.